BYD just did something that made every car company on the planet go quiet. Not because they released a flashy concept. Because they put a real car on sale that charges in 5 minutes. Not 30. Not 20. 5. And before you say that sounds like marketing nonsense, here is what actually happened. In March 2025, BYD stood on stage and showed a system that takes a car from 10% to 70% charge in 5 minutes using a 1,500 kilowatt charger. That single charge adds 400 kilometers, roughly 250 miles, of real driving range. The kind of stop you take anyway. Bathroom, water, back in the car. Done. Trip continues. But the charging speed is not even the most insane part. The most insane part is what they built underneath you when you sit in that car. There is no battery box. There is no heavy separate unit bolted under the floor. The floor is the battery. The walls contribute to it. The entire structure of the car stores energy and holds the vehicle together at the same time. BYD called it cell-to-body technology, and it breaks every assumption the car industry has been working with for the last 2 decades. To understand why this matters so much, you have to go back to where BYD actually started. Not in a massive factory. Not in a Silicon Valley lab. In 1995, in a single rented room in Shenzhen, a man named Wang Chuanfu started making rechargeable batteries for mobile phones. That is it. That was the whole business. But what he built in that room was an obsessive, ground-level understanding of exactly how batteries work, how they fail, what makes them dangerous, and what makes them last. That knowledge became the entire foundation of everything BYD built afterward. When they moved into cars in the early 2000s, they did not think like a car company. They thought like a battery company that happened to be wrapping a vehicle around their cells. Every other manufacturer on the planet treats the battery as a component they buy or source and then engineer around. BYD treated the battery as the most important thing in the room and built everything else second. By 2020 they made a move the rest of the industry thought was a mistake. They went all in on a battery chemistry called lithium iron phosphate at a time when competitors were quietly walking away from it, because it stores less energy than newer options. BYD saw something different. They saw a chemistry that was safer, lasted longer, and could be manufactured cheaper. So instead of abandoning it, they redesigned the cell completely. They made the cells long and flat like blades and packed them edge to edge with zero wasted space between them. No module casings. No extra protective boxes. Just dense flat energy storage laid out as efficiently as physically possible. Then, to prove the safety point, they drove a fully loaded 46-ton truck directly over a blade battery pack. It did not catch fire. It did not leak. It barely dented. Wang Chuanfu said publicly his goal was to completely erase the phrase spontaneous combustion from the electric car conversation. That level of confidence only exists when you built the thing yourself from a single rented room up. The blade battery was a genuine leap. But it was still a separate unit. Still a box you build and bolt in. The next move was the one that flipped everything. Cell-to-body technology removed the box entirely. The top surface of the blade cells becomes the actual floor of the passenger cabin. You are not sitting above the battery. You are sitting on it. The cells spread structural forces across the frame exactly the way steel beams work in a building. Your skeleton does not just sit inside you doing nothing. It holds you up and absorbs impact. BYD made the battery do the same job for the car. The results are measurable. The structural stiffness of the car increased by 70% compared to their previous design. That number puts it in the same category as luxury vehicles costing several times more. And because they removed all the separate casing and packaging around the old battery box, 76% of the total system space is now actual energy storing cells. In older designs, a huge percentage of that space was eaten by protective layers, wiring channels, and cooling systems that surrounded the box itself. Cutting all of that out is why the newest BYD models push past 600 miles of range. Not from a bigger battery. From a smarter one. The cold weather performance is where most people stop believing the numbers, and the numbers are still real. At minus 30 degrees Celsius, the kind of cold where your car door handle snaps if you pull it wrong, BYD says charging from 20% to 97% takes only 3 minutes longer than it does at room temperature. 3 minutes. Not 30. Not 50. 3. That destroys every cold weather argument against electric vehicles in one sentence. Their flagship right now, carrying all of this technology at its highest level, is the Yangwang U7, a full-size luxury sedan rated at over 1,000 kilometers of range under Chinese testing conditions. Real-world numbers will be lower depending on how you drive. But even with that adjustment, the gap between this car and anything else on the market is enormous. And BYD already thought about the infrastructure problem before anyone asked. A 1,500 kilowatt charger cannot just pull from a standard power line without destroying the grid. So each BYD flash charging station has its own internal energy storage. It draws from the grid slowly all day and stores that power locally. When your car pulls up, the station dumps everything it collected directly into your battery at full speed. No grid spike. No waiting. They had already built over 4,000 of these stations before the technology went on sale. Their target is 20,000 stations across China by the end of 2026. Last year, BYD sold over 4 million vehicles. From a compact city car at around $22,000 all the way to a six-figure hypercar. The same core technology runs across all of it. This is not a limited feature for one expensive model. It is a platform. And platforms spread. The 3 reasons people avoided electric cars were always charging time, range, and cold weather. BYD just answered all 3 at once with a production car you can actually buy. The target moved. It moved a long way. And the rest of the industry is still doing the math on how far they need to run to catch up.